Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this presentation. On behalf of the Hindu Students' Council, I'm pleased to present this event to you. Before we begin, I would like to ask everybody to move forward because many of you are sitting way in the back there. I think you'll have a better experience actually if you sit in the first 6 rows. So if you can move forward, that would be great.
Yeah, if you ask questions in Sanskrit.
So let me begin by introducing our guest speaker. If you didn't hear her speak yesterday, you missed out on a great talk. But I'll give you the introduction again, so for those who weren't here yesterday. We have Anuradha Chaudhary, and I'll just ask her to stand up. A graduate from Sri Aurobindo International Center of Education, who is currently pursuing her PhD in Sanskrit from Pondicherry University on Vedic psychology. She teaches Sanskrit in Oroville, an international township, and is also a freelance teacher with Samskrita Bharati, an organization dedicated to bringing awareness about Sanskrit as a living language for enhancing social harmony. Apart from her passion in Sanskrit, she has been involved in many social activities and won a UN-related scholarship as well. Anuradha is also a research associate with the Indian Psychology Institute in Pondicherry, which seeks to highlight the contributions of India in the field of psychology. So along with her, today we have two panelists. First, Philippe Godin. Philippe Godin completed his PhD in psychology at Rutgers University, clinical psychology internship at the UC San Diego, and is currently a postdoctoral researcher in the Department of Psychology at Stanford University. His clinical research focuses on functional neuroimaging investigations of core cognitive affective mechanisms in both healthy adults and in patients with various forms of psychopathology, and the effect of mindfulness, meditation, and cognitive behavioral therapy on neural substrates of emotional reactivity, emotional regulation, and attention regulation, and also the effect of child-parent mindfulness, meditation, training on anxiety, compassion, and quality of family interactions. I think if you want to know more, we should personally speak to Philippe.
I'm tired. He's just like
And then we have Emma Safala. Emma is a graduate student in the psychology department at Stanford. She has a long-standing interest in the Vedic and Buddhist traditions to which she's committed through personal practice as well as psychological research. Before attending Stanford, she completed an MA in Indo-Tibetan Buddhism with Robert Tillman at Columbia. Her current research in the psychology department focuses on meditation and compassion. I'd like to briefly explain to you our format for today's presentation before handing it over to the speaker. We have 30 minutes allotted for the speaker, Anuradha, and 30 minutes for questions from our panelists, and 30 minutes for questions from the audience. But we would like you to write down your questions on the piece of paper that we've provided for you. And if you pass it to Omkar, who I think is at the back there, when it comes time for questions, he will pass on the questions to the panelists and they will interweave their questions with yours so that we can have a more productive discussion. However, you're definitely welcome to stay off after the presentation and ask questions of Anuradha offline. So without further ado, Anuradha.
Thank you.
I'd like to start with a small invocation, and it's just a small part of a whole thing, but it should do the job. Om Agnir me vachishritah Vaghridaye Hridayam mai Aham amrite Amritam Brahmani. Okay. Namaste. So, Namaste, seekers of the Veda, seekers of knowledge. Today I propose to take you on a journey that our ancient rishis undertook in the quest of the sun, the truth, the light, the immortality. And I propose that together we turn the pages of those ancient records once more in a new light and maybe walk a path less trodden, and that might make all the difference in understanding those texts. So, the Vedas are regarded as the most ancient texts of the world, and Sri Aurobindo says of the Vedas, says, one might almost say that ancient India was created by the Vedas and by the Veda and Upanishads, and that the visions of inspired seers made a people. The Vedas have played a very important role in being the fountainhead of Indian culture, and they have been seed for the thoughts of the different. Okay, they've been the seed for the different thoughts that have grown in the Indian culture, and they have always been revered as the highest source of knowledge, and that is because they contain a truth, knowing which you know everything. So in the Upanishads you have this about the Vedas. It says, "Yasmin vijyate sarvam idam vijyatam," knowing which everything is known. So in India and in the world, the Vedas has a threefold status today mainly. So you have one, they're regarded as social historic texts. What's happening?
Oops.
Okay. Sorry. So they're regarded as social historic texts, that is to say, describing ancient tribes or farmers singing songs to gods, performing sacrifice, and in return asking for gifts and all. The second kind of interpretation is that of the ritualistics. Why is it doing that? Sorry for the confusion. Why is it doing that? Okay, fine. Yeah, I got it. Okay. So it should not happen again, I guess. Anyway, so the second kind of interpretation is the ritualistic one, where the traditional scholars actually interpret the text as a manual for performing these different rituals and asking favors like heaven, the different heavens, etc. And third, they are also regarded as scientific records. So many scholars today also look upon these texts as the treasure hoard of a lot of scientific knowledge that is hidden in that. Now the question that one asks is that the Vedas have been the source also of the Upanishads and other later philosophies which have been acknowledged for their intellectual genius. So if one looks at the three interpretations that have been given earlier, one wonders how they were regarded with so much respect in the later tradition, in the later intellectual and spiritual traditions. So therefore the question that automatically comes forth is that, is there a deeper meaning at all in the Vedas? And if one acknowledges, if one accepts that there is a deeper sense in the Vedas, the question that one asks is that knowledge of any relevance to us in our modern times? Now, the answer to that is, Sri Aurobindo says, he says that the recovery of the perfect truth of the Veda is not merely a desideratum of a modern intellectual curiosity, but a practical necessity for the future of the human race. It is a very strong statement that he makes, that one has to not just go into it for certain intellectual satisfaction, but actually try and find out, one needs to understand the deeper significance and make it relevant to us in our modern days, modern time. So, one would ask oneself, in what way is the Vedic knowledge relevant to us? How can it become a practical necessity for the future of the human race? So the answer lies in Yaskacharya's commentary. Yaskacharya is one of the earlier commentators on the Vedas.